dreams serve as multiple functions. Some dreams originate from physical conditions that you need to rest and heal, and other times it's about like emotional concerns.
Do you think that while the body is fixing itself, we're leaving the body?
This is such an interesting thought.
I know someone who says that she was trapped in a dungeon with like demons. She was trapped there for years, and then one day she looked down and realized she could undo her shackles herself, and she did, and then she woke up.
We go through a lot of trauma on the daily. We're inundated with the energy of other people around us, so you have to constantly raise your vibration, be in your alignment so that you can have these more profound connections to your subconscious and your spirit.
Welcome to 5D Channels and Chats with Rachel Chamness. Trance channeling, liquid Reiki shamanic sound healing, and living light code transmissions. Join us at soundwavesheal.com or start inside the free community at school.com/soundwavesheal. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live in 5D. I'm here with Kiara Kyan, and we are going to be talking about dreams and the psyche, or mostly Kiara's going to be talking about that, and I'll be commenting. Because I don't know as much, but welcome. I'm so glad to have you back.
Thank you so much. I was so excited when you were like, we should do another one. And I was like, yes. And we're like, what are we going to do? And I was like, dreams.
Yeah, I really want to know more about dreams. I've been getting some messages that I'm supposed to be doing something with dreams, with lucid dreaming. And so I'm just really interested in the topic. And I just can't wait to hear all the things and talk to you about them. So first, tell everyone about yourself and what you do and all of that.
So hello again, everybody. I'm Kiara. I actually host a podcast, so it's kind of funny for this will also be in dual to my podcast on YouTube, but it's a Kiara Spirituality podcast where I bridge ancient wisdom, spiritual insight, and modern understanding to help you awaken to your highest potential. I am a Akashic practitioner, and my main focuses right now, and obviously adding all the modalities, are astrology and sound healing.
Cool. I'm so glad to have you back.
I'll probably jump right into it for you so you can
Let's do it.
kind of play a little bit. But today we're diving into one of the most mysterious experiences that we all share every single night, which is dreams. But my thought is, what are dreams really? Are they simply random brain activities as our science suggests? Are they messages from our subconscious mind? Or could they be something even more profound, like communication from the soul itself? The reason I wanted to talk about this with Rachel is because she, obviously, for those of you that are her followers, she is a practitioner that channels, right? And for those of you that are my followers, you know that I channel in different capacities. So when you're thinking of channeling, I wanted to bridge the two, especially in our subconscious mind, and what better way through dreams. If you guys didn't know, your dreams are a part of your subconscious cycle that your body does when it's healing itself at night when you sleep. So there are certain people that I have particularly focused on researching. Have you heard of Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times what I see with dreams is that we're in alternate dimensions. Sometimes we're traveling, like they're not always the same. I don't feel like they're always psyche, but I think sometimes they are. You know what I mean? So I have so many thoughts about it. And a lot of it is just channeled information or, things I haven't finished putting together yet. So this is really cool.
It's so exciting to me to talk about this. I have had a post on YouTube asking people like what they most want to hear. And it seems like people are interested in the dreams and then the sound healing. But basically, Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon propose that dreams serve as bridges between the dimensions of consciousness. So when I say that, people are like, wait, we have multiple dimensions of our consciousness? Yes, you do. Meanwhile,
Yes.
the neuroscience continues uncovering remarkable discoveries about REM sleep, memory consolidation, emotional healing, and subconscious processes. So basically, we are going to explore those different things. Let's begin with...
Hold up. Before you go on.
Yes.
So you're saying that it's all those things. I love that because that's kind of what I think too, that we go to sleep and then we have all these layers of dimensions or dimensionality of ourselves that we can reach. And I feel like we go to all these places is. And then we come back, but then we have to pull it all back to 3D and it makes no sense anymore, right? It's like, I don't know. I just can't explain it. It made sense when I was there. I feel like it's so weird. And it's so interesting to hear that because I've never really researched that. Of course, I've read some of Dolores Cannon's books and heard a lot about her, but I know very little about Edgar Cayce. I've read just a little bit, but that's really cool.
No, it's so funny too, because for those of you that are curious about Dolores Cannon, she was huge in the psychology world. I can't remember if she was a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but
she wasn't woo-woo when she started, right?
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people don't know that. She wasn't some woo-woo person. Like, she became that way because of what she learned.
She was incredibly curious about it because she kept seeing patterns when she would put people under hypnosis, because she figureheaded hypnosis, that they were saying the same things when they were under. So she would take different people from all over the world, write it down in her books, and she noticed patterns, and then it started to break open her realization about the subconscious and our connection to something bigger, where they don't know each other, but they're saying the same things when they're under. That's like a huge deal, especially
that is a big deal.
Like when we don't know each other. Like, obviously if we meet, we're going to talk about things that we know, but this was before the internet blew up. Dolores Cannon was around, right? So how would these people know the same exact things when they're put under? It's kind of an interesting thought. So basically, going back to dreams, let's begin with what we know. Every single night, we move through several stages of sleep. So during deep sleep, our body repairs itself. The tissues regenerate, hormones rebalance, the immune system strengthens. And then we get to something called REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep. And this is where the main magic begins, because during your REM sleep, the brain becomes highly active. Your emotional centers light up. Your memory network reorganizes, recalibrates. Your creativity increases. And this is when the most vivid dreams occur. Did you know that?
I didn't know it was related to REM.
And basically, the research says that the analytical regions of the brain becomes less active when we move into REM state.
Okay, so here's my question. Where's the state where you feel like you're between? Is that come before REM sleep? Like where you're between, you kind of feel like you're half dreaming and you're half awake, and you can kind of do things in that space. Like, where is that?
They call that like the meeting point, I think, from what I've read, the subconscious. I'm not sure the actual state of the sleep because they have like different names that I wasn't able to pull up, because I think it's like how people analyze the brain stem cells, right? But I wonder if I could even pull that up. That'd be interesting, right? What are the...
Because, it's so weird when you like come out of a dream and then you wake up and you turn off your alarm and then you go right back into it. Or like when you wake up in the morning, have you ever gone back to sleep the next night and gone straight back to the dream?
Yes,
That is crazy. If you can explain that, I want to know.
And also, did you know that some people don't dream at all?
Really?
Yeah, I've had a lot of clients that have told me that, and I'll tell you why that happens.
But they just don't remember, right?
It's complex. I'll tell you why. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you why those people don't dream. For those of you that are like, I don't dream, I'll tell you all about that. But according to this quick little search I pulled up, there are 4 stages of sleep. Stage 1 is light sleep. So basically, this is when you're like awake and then like falling asleep. Easy to wake up from. This is like when you're stirred, right? Stage 2 is light sleep. Your body enters into a deep state of relaxation. They call this the sleep spindles. So that's when your eye movement just stops entirely. This is where you help your brain process and organize memories. Then there's deep sleep, which is kind of what we're talking about, the deep and the REM state, because those are the ones that I think are important. So maybe from what you're saying, like maybe the deep sleep is like the in-between. It says here, often referred to as delta sleep or slow wave sleep.
Yeah, I knew it was one of the brain waves, but I wasn't sure. But when you do feel that way, it does feel like you're almost sleepwalking, like you turn it off, and I almost feel like I don't want to disturb this feeling. I'm just going to turn this off and go right back to bed, and then I go right back in.
And then the REM state is when you're actually doing your cognitive functions. So that's when your body is clearing itself of the daytime toxins, if we're talking about the science. But that's when you're having like the dreams, like where you're like able to tap into them and whatnot.
do you think that while the body is fixing itself, we're leaving the body?
This is such an interesting thought. So I wish that I had the machinery because I've always dreamt about this. I feel like someday I'll be able to do it. But it's like I've wanted to have somebody on like a bed and then to be scanned, like their brainwaves scanned, and then have them go into the different stages of sleep and then analyze like what happens to the auric field around them as they're moving
so
into
cool.
it. Isn't that a cool idea? That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Someday I would love to see because my theory is like on board with what you're thinking. Like I think that part of us lifts up. Like I feel
That's
like
what my guide is saying. Yes, that's true. That,
yeah.
you know, it's like the body's working. Now we can leave and go do something.
And I think that's where people who are aware of their energetic body and their auric field, which is why I want to bridge the science and the spirituality. I think that's when you're able to lucid dream and when you're able to astral project and astral travel and where you're going to different dimensions, which is why we were interested in talking about this in the first place. I think that understanding that it's like a doorway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because basically it's like in like other ancient traditions too, they believe like sleep wasn't just rest, right? They believe that it was a sacred threshold basically between the physical and then the spiritual world. And someone like, I remember reading Edgar Cayce's books and he's called the sleeping prophet. So if you haven't heard about him, like he's a big deal and I'll talk a lot about him right now. But basically he said that dreams serve as multiple functions. Some dreams originate from physical conditions that you need to rest and heal and whatnot. And then other times it's about like emotional concerns. So basically still others may come from like our subconscious mind. Cayce believed that it held the records of the soul's experiences beyond a single lifetime, which is what I believe too. Like I
So
think
you're going
that
to be experiencing past lives too.
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
I never thought about that. I always think it's like an alternate life or, oh, actually, yeah, I always think they're alternate, but like where you're like, but you weren't my husband, you were my cousin, or you weren't my brother, but you were my best friend. And you were like, but you were, you know, not female, you were a guy. And I feel like, yeah, that I always thought alternate, but that makes actually, but you know, when you think about it, past lives, alternate lives, future lives, they're really all the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I want people to be open to thinking about time as not a lateral experience, though in this earth plane, we are moving forward in a way that seems like it's lateral. But I was taught, and like I feel in my body too, that it's very much like this circular motion. Because like some people, as we talked about in the last episode, we go through these cycles where we repeat and repeat and repeat. So my thought is when you're in the dream state, you're connecting to all of you, not just part of you, because part of us is here, not all of us is here. So if we're connecting to all of us, wouldn't that mean that we would be able to connect to all the different areas that we're in at one point? You know what I mean?
My God, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. That's like, I love that we're talking about this and that you think the same, because this is stuff that I like. I really believe this. Like, I feel so strongly about this, which is why I was so excited to talk about this.
Yeah, I really just don't think dreams are as simple as people make it out to be. Oh, your brain's just making up stuff. It's like another gaslighting thing where it's like you're making it all up. And no wonder everyone has so many problems believing that their messages that they receive is just their imagination, because we're just told, oh, you're making it up. Oh, that was just a dream. Everything is so downplayed. That's just a 3D program, guys.
Yeah. No, I agree. And Edgar Cayce often described like dreams as symbols rather than like actual literal messages, sure. But basically he was saying like the soul speaks in imagery, so it communicates through metaphors. So your brain will get a flood of symbols, and it may even represent the self like from the different points in time. It could also represent like the journey that your spiritual evolution is moving in. So that's why I think like this is like the dream language is symbolic, being that it is the subconscious communicating differently with the conscious mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And have you ever like watched some video about something that was like blow your mind and then you needed a fat nap afterwards because you were like,
yes,
I cannot stay awake. This must be integrated.
kind of like dreams. Like, I think that when people create media, especially like animated media, rather, well, even maybe storyline media, like movies or shows, and somebody resonates so deeply with that movie or show, I've always thought this, like, if you get to hear some of my crazier stories another time, but I think that when we watch these shows and we feel really connected to them, I think it's the same as a dream, because somebody has dreamed up the idea of this show, plot, pilot, movie, whatever, and they're putting that into a show, and we're seeing the media. So I think it's like the subconscious showing the conscious, like something that we all resonate with. I remember watching, this is going to be silly, and I know Spider-Man is coming out because we just had the premiere in the past couple of days, but when I was little, watching Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man, and like the main thing that I walked away with was like, no matter how hard life gets, like you have to get up, like you have to get up and keep going, which is like Spider-Man's whole MO, right? And I think that that lesson and that resonation within me was like, I relate to that character as, you know, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, because I feel the sense of justice in me. I've always felt the sense of justice, and I found out that my human design actually describes this sense of justice, where I am a manifesting generator and I am a 5/1, and I have this super powerful sense of justice. Like, I think that if people do wrong, they should be brought to some sort of justice in a capacity. And when I watched Spider-Man, and like how like every time he would get destroyed, like he's like one of the strongest characters to always get like destroyed down to his core, loses his uncle or his aunt or whoever he ends up losing in whatever comic or whatever, and he just keeps getting up. And it's like the message that like rang into my soul. I was like, I can't stop, I have to keep going, I have to get up no matter how hard life gets, right? So these resonations, these dreams, these sentences, these things that we create in media, I think that those are also translation that are what we consider dream, because I think the dream is more so the bridge to our unconsciousness and into the more higher self part of our brain, if that makes sense.
It does. And you know what? We could take this so much further. We could say that everything, and I was talking about this with Brian Scott like a little while ago too. And because I once did this past life regression. And while I was there, it was like this whole Fey world. I talked to this elemental dwarf, and he told me that everything that we create is created and is part of our earth. Every story, every small thing. So imagine that. It's like they've written this story, but it didn't come from nowhere. I mean, usually, you know, they're channeling, and then there's always some truth to it. And then now it's born, it's been made, it exists somewhere, it's real in some way. And then consider that if it was just a book or whatever, now it's a movie. So now we have Hollywood involved, and they have, you know, they have that whole thing where they have to give some disclosure of real things. And it's that disclosure inside the TV show or the movie that makes you resonate so hard with it. Because deep inside in your soul, you're like, this is true.
This has
I
to be
recall
real.
this from a past life. And so you love it, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I am obsessed with Star Trek. Like, I love it. I could watch so much of it. And it's because of some past life, not
Where
dream,
you
but
got
some,
to connect with all the galactic.
yeah, where I was
Yeah.
like in a spaceship. So of course I'm like crazy about it. It just brings up so many feelings to me. And a lot of it is like feeling like there's so much about it that's real. And there is so much disclosure in science fiction too, you know,
Yeah.
Star Wars too.
So I actually want to touch on that and go back to our friend
Okay.
Dolores Cannon, because that was kind of what she came to realize, right? So she expanded the concept through the decades of hypnosis work. That was like her main forte. That's where she studied. That's how she helped people, was through hypnosis. And she proposed that during sleep, the consciousness partially disengages from the physical body, which is what we're talking about, right? So according to her research, the soul may use the dream states to review life lessons, receive guidance, connect with the higher aspects of self, visit other realities, and access information beyond the ordinary awareness, which is literally everything that we said before I told you her stuff, right?
Yeah.
And she often spoke, like all the time, this is what I was talking about, the higher self, the wiser, expanded consciousness that exists beyond the personality that we have here, right? So in her view, dreams dreams can become conversations between the human self, this body, and the higher self. And then she also mentioned that like not every dream is spiritual and not every dream contains like prophecy or like insights or whatnot, but some dreams can carry guidance that our waking mind isn't ready to hear. So if you have nightmares, right, about parts of you that you keep seeing repeated, you're like, wow, like I let this person go and I stopped doing this situation, but I'm still dreaming about, you know, some people dream a lot about like when they were drunk and say they're sober now and they feel so much guilt and resentment and regret around drinking. Okay, well, there's something that's unresolved that your subconscious is telling you by this dream, right? So I would consider, like, for those of you that don't have a dream journal, like if you have voice memos, if you just want to write like a scratch note, or if you want to do like a chat note or something, try to remember what dreams you're having and why, because there's something that your subconscious is talking to you about, things that you're working on, or maybe that you need to transmute inside of you too. You know what I mean?
I just realized something that's really cool. So, you know, I used to be an opera singer. When I was a professional opera singer, I'd always have this dream. Okay. The dream is that, so when you go sing somewhere, you show up 3 weeks early and you rehearse for 3 weeks and then you do the show. And that's how you do it. And so I kept dreaming that I would show up and I'd be like, hey, I'm here for rehearsal. And they'd be like, no, you're on stage, go. And they would like throw me out on stage.
You're like, I'm not ready.
Right. But not only was it not the role that I brought or the role that I sing, because there's roles for different types of voices. It was for some huge role that I could never sing because I'm not a mezzo soprano. It's Carmen, one of my favorite operas. And I sing like the smaller role in it because that's for my voice, or I used to. And so I would dream that I would get there. They'd be like, oh no, not only are you on, but you're singing Carmen. And they would push me on stage and I'd be like, oh my God, like it's really hard. And I don't know how to sing. It's too low for me. Like, and I would freak out. Okay, so I used to have those dreams all the time. And then, of course, I stopped because I stopped doing it. But I started getting them again.
Maybe your body, well, because you do light language. Yeah, you know why.
I know why, because I decided to start making music in a healing capacity. So now I make music and I record the healing with my voice, which is something I always did in sessions, but like making specific things like for YouTube and eventually to streaming. And so now I just realized when you were talking that's why I was getting them again.
Did you see The Fifth Element?
Oh yeah, I love The Fifth Element.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that's my favorite part.
That's what you remind me of. That's kind of funny.
Oh, that's funny. I don't sing that high.
Well, I'm just kidding.
Not anymore.
But that's kind of what's important about this, right? Is like the subconscious is that meeting point. This is where the science and spirituality, like they actually begin to overlap and like feed into each other, you know? So the science acknowledges that the subconscious and the process is this enormous amount of information, like beyond our awareness, right? And then your subconscious notices the patterns because your subconscious is like basically tracking the emotions, it's storing memories, and it's observing details that you might not consciously recognize. And I remember reading like where spiritual traditions often describe the soul in very similar terms, like as a deeper intelligence, a wiser aspect of consciousness, a source of inner knowing, whether we call it subconscious mind, higher self, soul consciousness, or intuition. Both perspectives suggest that there's much more happening than we would ever realize, you know?
Yeah. My guides often show me that we can only hold so much information in this 3D body. So we have to kind of like exchange, like you bring in that wisdom, you got to kind of let some stuff go. And I swear, I feel like I've wiped out many years trying to bring in all that higher level information.
Yeah.
It's really incredible, like how much knowledge we actually have in our higher self. Like, you know, and when you leave your body, when you do some sort of astral travel or when you're in the dream state or whatever, you know, when you're in a trance state for channeling, even you're sort of a little bit there too. It's like you can see all this information and when you come back, it's all gone again.
Well, pardon me, that was kind of what I was thinking about with like, this might be a little philosophical in my perspective, but it's like we breathe like every single day. Like, how does our body remember to do that? Or like our hair grows, or like our fingers and body have functions that are so complex. I mean, there's so many things going on in just your finger, like that it's like crazy for you.
Like your heart beating.
Yeah, your heart beating and pumping all that through your body. Like, I think about all that stuff and I'm like, well, if our body can do this insane insanely complex. What would it be if your brain, which they say we use a percentage of, how much more can your brain do? Or how much more access to your DNA is your soul to the other timelines, dimensions, lifetimes, and experiences that we don't know about that are connected to our brain? Because there's some people that go through like NDEs, like near death experiences, where I think they have, I'm not 100% on this because I'm still researching it, but they have more access to certain parts of their brain and their gifts, because when you pass, your body, especially if you cross over like to a certain degree, your body automatically pumps this chemical in your brain called DMT. And for those people that are recreational users of drugs, they know what DHT and DMT are. And when your brain is pumping this chemical into you, it creates this euphoric experience, which is why when people pass away, they say they see like the light or they see something, because the body is pumping chemicals to calm the system down, knowing that it's passing away. So thinking about just that, the people that come back, did you get pumped with something? Did your brain open another part of itself because it knew that it was passing on? And then all of a sudden you weren't passed away and you came back. Like, did you get more chemicals that gave you something else, more access to something in your brain, right? So then I bridged that thought with, why do dreams feel so real? I think, and I'm not 100% because I'm not a neuroscientist, and I probably should study this more because I'm very curious about it. But have you ever awakened like from a dream and felt that it was more real than your actual waking moment or your life?
Oh, more real than your life. I think so. Yeah.
This.
Now I know people who have had dreams that lasted years and years.
Yeah, me too. Repetitive.
Like,
yeah.
No, like they were in a dream for years. It was so real. And then they woke up. Yeah, I know someone who says that she was trapped in a dungeon with like demons and all this stuff. And she was trapped there for years and years. And then one day she looked down and realized she could undo her shackles herself, and she did. And then she woke up.
I've had a very similar dream, different environment, but very similar, where I just kept going back to the same location. I was really afraid of sharks when I was little. Like, I loved all sharks except for the great white and the hammerhead. Those were like the two sharks that I was so scared of, but I didn't mind the other sharks. And I would have this repetitive dream, which I found out about, I'll tell you after. But the repetitive dream was I kept waking up in this tank over and over and over, and they kept eating me like over and over and over.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I would always wake up in this dream. It was from when I was very little until like probably about like 23. And I remember when I was 23, like finally being like, okay, I'm done with you sharks. And I like punched the shark's face, and then I never dreamt of being in the tank ever again. And I found out that in some cultures, like if you dream about certain animal totems, those totems represent like dark energy. Like I don't want to call them demons, but like I guess you could call it like that frequency. Like lower,
I mean, it's just a lower vibrational entity.
Yeah. So, and they feed off of you when you're in like certain planes of existence. Like if you're low, which I was very low when I was younger, so it makes sense that I was in those dimensions, and then they're eating your energy, right? Now one day I'm like, I'm sick of being in these lower dimensions, boom, right? And then I wake up and it doesn't happen anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's just blowing my mind, because I'm just thinking about a couple things. One thing is, like I said, like when, and usually this happens, it's a bad dream, right? You have this really bad dream, and all day you're like, if it comes back a little bit and you're like, stupid dream, I don't want to think about it. And then you go to bed and it's like, it's right there. And you're like, oh my God, I'm not going back to bed because it's right there. It's just waiting for me, this dream, you know? And it's yeah.
I don't want to go back. No, I've had those too.
Yeah, just you have to clear it, or but it's weird because it's like I'm not even asleep yet and I can feel it. It's like there. It's waiting for me. I don't know if that's because I'm psychic or if other people have that experience, but it's super freaky.
I can tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
So basically, during your REM state, your emotional centers of your brain are more active. So if you are moving into a REM state where even in meditation, or like you could still be conscious and go into REM state, basically your emotions become amplified, and then your symbolisms and your experiences become more vivid and immersive. So from like a spiritual perspective, some traditions suggest that dreams bypass the filters of our analytical mind. So if your ego's not getting in the way, your deeper truths emerge, which can be fears, hope, wounds, gifts, potential, things we have to work on. So if there's something that's edging something at the back of your ego that hasn't been healed or moved through, oftentimes it's going to come through in your subconscious state, which will translate to your dream state.
That is interesting. I mean, I've had dreams where it seemed like a whole different life, where I was married to an ex-boyfriend, we had kids and all this stuff. And then I'm like, why did I dream that? Like, there's probably something unresolved that I need to clear. I mean, pretty much every boyfriend before my husband was just a terrible situation. Not like dangerous, but like, not nice,
It could also be like your past life merging with issues that you're trying to heal in this life. That's what I would think of immediately, because I had a dream similar where I was in like a whole nother world. I mean, I wasn't even a human. I was like a different species or creature. And I was like in the same boat, had a partner, did this whole thing, was a different person. And I was experiencing all these things. But the takeaway I got was like, oh, I'm healing the part of me that wants to be like free and like adventurous and like wants to expand or something. Like that was a focus. So my urge to you is like, what was the dream showcasing? Was it like a good?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had one in like forever. It was like a long, we've been married for over 20 years. And it was like at the beginning but I think that it was like, if I saw that person or something about that relationship came up and it bothered me, like, oh, why did I stay with that guy who was cheating on me or something? And then I would have the dream and there I was in like this other world, this completely different world, almost not as complete as the one you're talking about, but it's like a totally different world. It's so weird because they were so real, and that's what started me thinking maybe these are alternate lives.
I would absolutely say, like, even if it's a part of your brain that is remembering something and it's not necessarily like what you're living right then and there, you probably were like at one point that probably was something that was like a lifetime. You know what I mean?
It's so wild how many ways that our life could go.
And also like what you're planning to experience here versus like what you've experienced in other worlds. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, I want to hear more about lucid dreaming too, but
I got you.
Okay, good.
Lucid dreaming and conscious awareness are basically the same thing. One of the most fascinating areas of the dream research is lucid dreaming. This has been something that you can look it up in Stanford. You can look it up in like all these like writing. Scientists have been looking into lucid dreams forever, especially with like mental health, because back in the early 1900s and even the 1800s, when they were doing experiments on humans in asylums, part of these experiments had to do with dreams and like your subconscious state, and like if you go into frenzy or like you're in psychotic breaks, right? When you're thinking about this, you realize that your dreaming is while you're sleeping, but scientists have also confirmed that lucid dreamers demonstrate increased self-awareness and greater activation of certain regions of the brain. Spiritually, many traditions have long viewed lucid dreaming as an opportunity for conscious exploration, where like a manifestation, awareness, expanding beyond ordinary limitations, and also that people use lucid dreaming to help heal their fears. Others use it for creativity, some for spiritual downloads, insights. And the key to it basically is not controlling the dream, but being conscious within it. I've told people time and time again, they're like, how do I get more lucid dream like activation? Like, how do I get more conscious in my dreams, right? So my trick is you have to think of in hypnosis and hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming, we call it break the state. So when you're talking in like this pattern that's like this, your dreams like that, where it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like the same across the board. But if you break the state, all of a sudden your awareness is like, what the hell just happened? Like, oh my gosh, that was so like jarring. It just broke the state. So when I break the state in my dreams, usually I'll have something that I'm wearing that is a remember. Like if I go to sleep and I'm wearing a specific item, I can touch that item and be like, oh shit, that's gonna wake me up, because this has like ridges and stuff on it, and I love this piece. This is like my favorite bracelet, but I'll remember wearing this and then like grab it to like make the ridges of my hands feel the sensation of like that prickle or like that scraping feeling, and then my brain will be like, okay, you're awake now, you're conscious now. Some people use animals, some people use sounds, some people use colors to like pop them into like consciousness, where it's like, oh, I saw red, okay, boom, I'm awake, here I am, I'm awake in this dream.
I don't know
So
how I would do that. That sounds complicated.
you just pick something that is very emotionally receptive to you, something that's so close to your heart that you would automatically feel the sensation in the dream, and then it makes you lucid, it makes you aware. So you want to think about your emotional state, and things that you're attracted to, they like inspire you, or they light you up, or they like give you a sensation inside your body, because that will wake you into the dream. That'll bring you to consciousness. And the more you practice it, the easier it is to be active in your dreams.
Okay. I really want to do that.
It takes a lot of practice.
I bet. Yeah. Good thing is we are all practicing every night, right? So we might as well.
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing is this works. Lucid dreams are in REM state. So if you are not in a deep enough state of rest or like sleep, and you're not in that state, you don't have a good chance of lucid dreaming, because lucid dreaming is when you're actually in that frequency. You have to be in that, like past the delta, and go into that really deep rest state.
Oh.
The other thing too I wanted to talk about is like emotional healing. So like a lot of people have nightmares and these nightmares, they're not to punish us. Like I want people to know that when you're having a nightmare, it's just saying like these are processing unresolved emotions. So it's basically trying to understand like, where do I need to seek some healing? Your dreams are helping you integrate experiences, and then your soul and psyche are continually trying to find balance. So even those of us that have like, you know, our desires diminish, or our intuition doubted, or grief that's buried, or like trauma, like say you have mental health issues and you're trying to heal the trauma, the best thing to do is to see like what the symbolism in your dream is, so that you can invite awareness and be like, okay, I'm going to write this down when I wake up, and then like think about maybe I can find help in these areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know that if people have like the kind of dreams where it feels like they're being psychically attacked over and over and over again, they have those all the time. So you can also have a tear in your time transcendence chakra, which is like a higher chakra. Or you could have auric field tears too. That can cause those kind of dreams, you know, but that's slightly different than what you're talking about. But like I used to have those, like something was like a shadow was choking me over and over. To wake up, I'd still be choking, like things like that. Those are like auric tears. Yeah.
And like seeing entities, especially conscious entities, I've had people talk about sleep paralysis and
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that, I would 100% agree. Again, this is energetic integration. So these are the layers of what your emotions are connecting to your spirit. So I talk about this with Rachel, but I'll repeat this with you guys. That way you're aware of it. But there are the 4 spirit bodies: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. If you have exhaustion in any of those 4, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, you're going to experience those exhaustions in your rest state, because your rest state is to heal the body, all 4 bodies. So for your spirit, right? Like if you say like, oh, I don't have enough protection, like I wear protection all the time. I'm wearing it right now. I wear my crystals that I wear specifically. I have my entire room gridded in every house.
Right. Yeah,
I have crystals, by my bed, right? There's specific techniques to cleanse your space, and you want to continually cleanse your space always. Like I use sage and Palo Santo, but I use sound, which Rachel uses sound, Reiki, frequency. You want to be sure to clean always your bodies. So your spirit is just as important, because your spirit rules the dream space as well as your emotions. So those 2 coincide, whereas your mind and your body are actually in their healing state. So your mental and your physical body are being healed and charged, while your spirit and your emotions are traveling to the different layers that you're tapping into. So if you're a spiritual person, like someone that connects to your subconscious and like channels, or you're in those different fields, your dreams will reflect what level you're at. So those of us that have these crazy ass dreams where we're talking to the Akashic practitioners that are in the Akashic records, and they're like our guards and whatever, those of us that want to experience that, you have to cleanse your space, cleanse your energy, get your frequency to a certain level, and then your level will take you to wherever the energy goes. And for those of us, we go through a lot of trauma on the daily. We're inundated with the media, we're inundated with the energy of other people people around us, and we're constantly being bogged down energetically. So you have to constantly raise your vibration, be in your alignment so that you can have these more profound connections to your subconscious and your spirit. I don't know what you think about all that, but that's just what I experienced.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And kind of what we were saying before, it's like one part is you're resting in or healing in different ways. One is through exploration in the spiritual or, in the dimensions. And one is, letting that body reset,
I was thinking about it too. Like, I feel like there's like really strong emotions that help too in the dream state. So for lucid dreaming too, thinking a lot about, it sounds silly, but it works for me, like love. Like if you think that love frequency, like pure love, unconditional love, like I'm more able to access lucid dreaming when I feel like it's a sensation that it reminds me of like a golden aura energy. And it's like a heat. I don't know how to explain it, but that heat like pops me into consciousness. And I'm like, okay, I'm aware now of like, do I want to shift what I'm doing? Am I going to astral project? Am I going to go somewhere? Like, what am I doing while I'm in this space? And sometimes I do that if I want to mess around in that world. And then other times I feel like I'm always like fighting. Like for those of us that are like the spiritual warriors, like I always feel like I'm fighting when I'm in my dream state, like whether it's protecting people or cleansing energy for the earth or something. Like I wonder if other people experience that too.
I experience, well, I don't consider myself a warrior. So what I experience is sometimes I dream a lot about healing other people. Like I'm doing a session, like I'm going through all the emotions of doing the session. Sometimes I even dream about like web work where like I'm like using Canva and stuff like that. But I dream a lot about healing people and places. And sometimes people say, oh, I saw you in my dreams, or I see you in my dreams all the time,
I've had
which is
people tell me
interesting.
that too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, okay, that's cool.
I know. I'm just running around healing people in my sleep too. And then I also have this theory with my friend Gio where it's like the more that you work during the day, the less that you work at night. And the less that you work spiritually in the day, the more you work spiritually at night. Like there's some sort of balance. So if like you worked all day like you had a ton of sessions, like that night is going to be, you will not be appearing in anyone's dream. But let's say you took the week off, so you think you're still probably healing people in their dreams.
I have definitely experienced this. And I feel like the people who will find this video will resonate with that too. Like, I think that's kind of part of being a practitioner. Once you open the door, I think that that's the part that we play in other people's experiences. And anybody, even if you've barely opened the door and you're just working on your friends and family, like, yes, I feel like we're all kind of, that's what that, Dolores Cannon was saying, is that we're a part of like a higher person, a higher self. And I think that higher self is connected to the unity consciousness. Like it's part of like this whole network that we're like a part of, like a giant brain, and we're helping each other move energetically. Like that's my theory anyway. For those of you that have a hard time remembering your dreams.
Or what about, you said people who say they don't dream.
That don't dream. Yes, exactly. I'm going to read this little thing to you here. So if you'd like to deepen your relationship with dreaming, begin simply by keeping a journal by your bed. I've told this to all my clients. Before you sleep, you want to ask yourself, even out loud or in your brain or whatever you need to do as a mantra, what would my higher self like me to understand? Then
I know that will work.
Yeah. Then when you wake, write immediately. Don't analyze it. Just write. Your patterns will show up, symbols will repeat, and themes become clearer. But when we're talking about people who can't dream, so when you have emotional experiences that create something where I like to think of it as people that repress like your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, or your experiences. Like, have you heard of people that like have gone through something and they don't remember it at all, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
So I think it has a form of your emotional repression. I would analyze your emotional state, and I've met some people that are like, there's something wrong with me emotionally. Everybody has emotional issues.
Everybody has them. Yeah.
So whatever your emotions are that need love, I would look at what's the main emotion that shows up in you every single day. How do you feel when you go to sleep? Is your space that you're going to sleep in an environment that makes you feel safe? If you can add or amplify your space to be like a sacred temple for healing, think of it always that way for anybody. Like, I'm going to bed to heal. So if there's something in your space, your room, your house, that you cannot go to sleep comfortably, that needs to be be addressed. Address all of those things.
It can be physical too.
Yeah, physical. Address all those things so that you can see, like, is there part of the body that's just not, it's not letting me connect to that part of my brain because I need to focus on something else before I could go into the dream state. Because
it could be too something like where they're not getting deep sleep because they have sleep apnea or something like that too.
Exactly. My dad, so he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I know he's psychic. Like, he's so psychic, he sees ghosts. Like, he can see things that and hear things that people can't, which is why he was scientifically said that he's schizophrenic, which I have a whole thing. I have a whole thing about that. We could talk about another time.
Me too.
He didn't dream. He didn't dream for years between when he divorced my mom until they got remarried recently. That entire, I know that's another story too. That's an entire 14 good long years where he didn't dream. And then when they got married and he dealt with his issues and went to therapy and healed and like worked through all of the trauma that he was going through to a certain degree, all of a sudden he's dreaming.
Wow.
Yeah. So whatever was going on, whether, you know, it had to do with the mental health or it had to do with his environment where he was unhappy, or maybe he was unhappy with himself or other people, his emotions, whatever. All of a sudden he's dreaming now. And that's huge to me. I'm like, I've known this man my whole life and he didn't dream and now he's dreaming. I mean, crazy. You know what I mean?
What do you say about this? I know someone who says in their kid that he can't wake up from a dream unless he dies.
I've had that too.
Does that mean that he
doesn't want to come back?
He's leaving. He can't come back, so he has to die somehow because he knows that will bring him back, like falling off a building. I've done that before, like to wake up, falling will help you wake up.
So I have 3 ideas.
Okay,
like
go on here.
One idea is you want to be in a different plane of existence. The other idea is your subconscious is trying to force you to see something that you're like unwilling to see. So the only way to get out of it is to hurt your brain, like, I guess by thinking you're dying and then you wake up. And then the third thing would be like energetically, you could be stuck in a frequency that your body doesn't know how to pull itself out of. So if you're in that frequency for a long period of time, your body's probably adapted or it's kind of merged with that line or that frequency. So it's a little bit harder to untether and get out of it because you're so integrated into it. Those are my 3 thoughts.
That's really interesting.
I wanted to talk about all this because I wanted it to help people. Basically, like whether you view dreams from the lens of neuroscience or spirituality or both. Basically, one thing is certain, like dreams are meaningful. They're reflections of the unseen world that's within us. And science shows us the mechanics. Spirituality explores the purpose. So together they invite us to approach dreaming not as something random, but as like a sacred opportunity for self-discovery. And I think about this like every night that I close my eyes, you know, I enter into a landscape that I feel like are a lot of times my past lives, or maybe they're like a dream that I need to heal from too. But I see it as like a sacred opportunity for self-discovery, and also where like my emotions, my memory, imagination, and healing can help my soul wisdom expand. I want to channel and download as much as I possibly can. So my question to everybody else and you and anybody even listening to this is like, are you listening to your subconscious? Are you listening to your dreams? And, you know, how are you going to play in that world?
I love that because you're right. You know, and when you said before, like if for those who don't dream, if you can make an intention before sleep, that reminds me of how I tell people, if you have a question and you want the answer, you can listen to any guided meditation that brings you into that state or that brings you in touch with an angel or guide or something, and just say before you do it, I want to know the answer to this question, and then do that meditation. You will get the answer. And I'm sure it works the same way with sleep.
I also think like for the people that really crave to dream, like they really want to, you know, they think about it all the time. I think that please look at your mental, emotional, physical, or spirit body and see like what might be needing to be healed and addressed first for you to be allowed to let your body expand that much in your rest. Because if you think of it this way, like when you're going into the dream space, you're, as Dolores Cannon was saying, like your entire body is separating from the soul temporarily. So at least that's what the theory is. That's what I think happens. So
when your guide says yes, Alpar.
When you're doing that, how can like other parts of you that are not safe or healed or healthy or protected or whatever the case may be, how can you do that if the parts of your body need to be addressed first. So I would check your emotions. I would check your experiences, your house, your sacred space in your room, and maybe your relationships with people or yourself. And you might have to address those things first before you can go into the dream world. Because as I said, like legit, my dad didn't dream forever, for years. I don't even know if he dreamed when I was a kid, but now he can dream. Like that's huge to me. So, and he did a lot of work. I mean, he went through a lot of pain and trauma and suffering and healing and therapy and self-awareness and cleaning his past in order to be able to do that. So
well, thanks for coming on with me. This was really fun. I loved everything that we talked about. It was deep. I feel like I need to go back and listen one more time.
I mean, if this episode resonates with you and everybody else, share it. Share it with people who love exploring consciousness, dreams. Check out Dolores Cannon. Check out Edgar Cayce. Trust your intuition. And, there are people like her and myself that really care about you guys and like your journey and our journey, and reach out to us.
Well, thanks for coming. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience before we go?
Just thank you guys so much. And thank you for having me on. This helps me feel like super happy and excited. I love talking about these subjects. They're something that I think about all the time and I research and want to understand more of. And I even wrote, like in my book, The Cosmic Connection, that these people that are such huge influences in the spiritual world, especially Edgar Cayce, Dolores Cannon, Carl Jung, these people are tremendously informative. So if you guys get the chance to read their works, it helps really bridge the science and the spirit so that you can develop within yourself and understand it more than just like, oh, this is woo-woo. I don't think it's woo-woo. I think there's a lot of science to it.
Yeah, there is. I like how you bridge it together, because I always think, how do these two things come together with like what I see happening in dreams that, that I've channeled or that I've become to understand as a psychic, and like this other part that's so psychological. So that was really helpful. Well, for everyone here, I'm going to put all of Kiara's information, including her book, in the comments. So be sure to check her out on her podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
It's Kiara's Spirituality, and not TY, but tea, like sipping tea.
Ah, love it. Like behind you.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Well, thanks for coming. And thanks, everybody. If this found you at the right time, like the video and subscribe. When you feel called, join us inside 5D Channels and Chats on School to access my free Channeling Spirit Guide Foundations course and deeper trainings. That's school.com/soundwavesheal. I'm Rachel Chamness, and I'll see you inside the community.